Hey, hey, hey. How's it going? Hello, hello, hello. We are here. We are on. We are rolling.
Mind Vault.
Mind Vault. This is episode 2 of the Mind Vault podcast. We're just two dudes chatting about whatever we want.
Just talk.
Bringing long form discussion to the internet.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just a conversation.
yeah, the internet is becoming, this fast paced, shortcut world. And so it's kind of just about putting the brakes on and like cruising, through like real talk and discussion, some human connection.
Cruising and bruising, man.
Yeah, we're bringing some human connection to the internet, like just talking about whatever we want. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Like, what are your thoughts on Christmas music? Given that, like, because Christmas music is like the complete antithesis of like what your regular music taste is. It's like super fucking, and like sleigh bells, like, and it's all like happy and peppy and like super poppy, and then you get into modern like Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, or like Wham. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day I gave it away.
Yeah.
Like
that stuff's like, I don't know, man. That's like all my fucking childhood like memories, I guess. Like, I don't have a beef with Christmas music. I personally think some of that shit slaps.
Yeah. I think like the really old stuff,
like the classical stuff
is like really good. Like
bum 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, like
the
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah.
I think I did security for like a band that he was covering for, and I met their guitar player. I gave him
That's pretty
horns and a fist pump, but it was like crazy to like see him in the flesh. It's like, you did the Christmas songs, bro. That was a crazy solo you did at the end. It was crazy shit. Like,
like it's definitely like, I feel like it definitely translates well, especially like when you get into like the more like older, grandiose, like it fits like that metal, like operatic choirs and
right.
Like
absolutely,
it's one step away basically.
The only thing I could say though is that like you have to appreciate this stuff, like if you don't work at like a convenient supermarket or gas station or whatever type of like mainstream type of store, because like that shit will drive you crazy.
It
will literally be like, like those like torture chambers would have like the water droplet and it just hits your forehead or like the wall or something. And, like, I don't know, just some type of like like even just like not even specifically for the holidays, but like if you're in like work in a store where they're playing music over the speakers, like it's the same. Like they have a specific playlist because they have to like license the music to play in the store since they're like making money, and so like they like license a specific playlist of songs, and so like like if they don't license, like if like they license enough that like if the average customer is going to be there for 20 to 25 minutes or whatever, like they're going to make the playlist like 25-30 minutes. But like when you work there, like you're there for like 8 hours, so like you hear that 30-minute playlist like 16 times. And so like when I used to work at
unnamed gas station. I'll just keep it unnamed gas station. You know.
Yeah.
But
the gas station life was. I used to work on an unnamed gas station too. That stuff was pretty wild.
Yeah, like I remember they specifically.
Twilight Zone, almost.
Yeah, like, and I worked the overnight shift there, so it was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it was like totally like the opposite of like the regular everyday. Like the sun's out, like normal person, you know, lifestyle. Like you definitely get like the weirdos coming in at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you know, or like drunk people coming from the bars at 2 a.m., which is, you know, always a show. You know, people like, you know, getting into fights or, you know, stumbling all over the place or, you know, just acting a fool. Like they can't even count their money when they're trying to pay for stuff. You know, but I remember specifically on the.
Were you pumping gas or were you at cash register?
No, it was in Pennsylvania, so it was self pumping.
So you're in the store.
Yeah, and so sometimes I would work in like the food, making food. But a lot of times I was working the register, and you know I'd have to restock shelves and that kind of stuff. and so, but like on the playlist there was Rock Lobster. Like, you know, that's the old song Rock Lobster. It's like a surf rock.
It's a Christmas song?
No, it's just like it's like an old rock song called Rock Lobster.
I remember the song. I just don't remember what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's like Rock Lobster, Rock Lobster, like or something like that.
Nice.
Like I hate the song. Like I hated it before I worked there, and it made me hate it even more because I'd hear it, you know, like 15 times a day. While I'm like trying to work, I'd be like mopping the floor, and I'm like Rock Lobster, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just like I can't listen to this song anymore, like, and it was just like, but you know, but then like, you know, Christmas time, it's like it amplifies it like 1,000, because how many times can you listen to Mariah Carey? But yeah, do you like have vinyl records at all?
Yeah, I just don't have a.
You don't have a player?
I don't have a player, but I got some cool. I guess vinyl.
The one that I have is actually like fairly inexpensive. I think it was like $120 or something like that.
Nice.
It's technically like a travel size record player. It has a little built-in speaker.
That's cool. Yeah,
built into it.
It's badass.
But I think they're pretty cool. Like I like to you know, like if there's any music that I like particularly like a specific artist or an album, like I'll get that on vinyl.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same way.
Because then, like, in reality, like, buying a vinyl for, like, was it like $45-$50?
Sometimes, yeah.
Or sometimes a little less.
Sometimes a little less. Sometimes, yeah, $60.
Yeah, if sometimes they do, like, premium or, like,
like
it's a limited run or something like that.
Two different, like A and B discs.
Yeah.
You know, have, like, front and back each.
Yeah.
Like their own art. And
yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, like it makes it sort of its own.
It's cooler than
package.
Like a CD. It's like a piece of art almost. It's like buying like a canvas or something.
Yeah, because especially like it's so big. Like, you know, CD is like this. You know, this big. It's like cool. Like you have to hold it up to your face like that to like see anything on it. But like buying like a record, like that's like. That is like decades worth of Spotify plays, in, you know, a single purchase. To like put it in perspective, like you buying one vinyl record is the equivalent of like a casual person just like listening to them for like decades. You know, because to make like you know, a couple of bucks on Spotify, you have to have like, you know, 10,000 plays or 100,000 plays or something like that.
It's a lot.
You know, yeah, you have to like compound like a lot of plays to actually make money. That's why like it's generally like the music aspect, it like basically has turned into like the promotional tool for like something else. So like it's, yeah, I make music, but I also sell t-shirts. So like like if like, yeah, it's great that you listen to the music and like, but like you should also come to a show because like I'll make money that way, or like buy a t-shirt because like buying a t-shirt is worth like thousands of Spotify plays. You know, like you can give me $10 now for a t-shirt and I won't have to wait a decade for that $10. You know,
Dude,
fed to me in like 3-cent increments.
It's terrible being an independent musician or in a band, like, you know, like trying to.
Yeah, I mean, it allows for ultimate creative freedom.
Make a career out of it, like,
Yeah.
in that type of way. Like,
It allows for ultimate creative freedom, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can make a living off of it. You know, versus like back in the day, it was harder to the entry to like the barrier to entry was a lot steeper. Because you had to go through a record label, you had to go through a publisher, like you had to convince a store to sell your music, like a physical. You had to find some way to print vinyls or print CDs, or cassette tapes or whatever the medium, those little wax cylinders, you know, whatever. Yeah. Even back before recorded music, sheet music, you know, that's how they made money. They sold sheet music through a publisher. So there was always a barrier to entry. And now the barrier to entry is like, do you have an internet connection? And do you have like some kind of device, a phone, a computer, you know, whatever? And basically anybody can make music and put it out there. They can make whatever they want and put it out there. And so it basically has allowed for ultimate creative freedom, but it like has saturated the market with so many options that like it kind of just makes like less success. Like you're basically taking the same amount of money, in fact even less, because now instead of paying for music, you're getting a subscription. You're paying $10 a month to get all the music in the world, basically. Versus you used
I miss
pay.
like the iTunes days when you would just like look up a band, or go to a show, like you said, like just go buy a fucking
that's digital, but at least you had to buy that thing,
right? CD, shirt, you know, or just like go to like, you know, like go to a website and download like, you know, the song, like like you'd have to buy it directly and it would go straight to the band. Well,
the funny thing is that you know, Napster, like the people would like torrent music. It was like early like music torrenting. Like they would like illegally download music. It was like in the 90s. And then eventually there was like LimeWire.
Yeah, I know LimeWire. So there's
it was like the original LimeWire.
Holy shit! There's like an old predecessor, like a king, like a old tyrant, like old.
Yeah.
LimeWire was foul, bro.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah. So like I destroyed my computer with LimeWire back in the day. My like crappy laptop that I had, you know, and so the thing is, like, so Napster's doing this thing. It, like, started severely impacting the profits of the record companies. And so, like, they basically started doing a lawsuit. In fact, Metallica was the ones that actually were leading these lawsuits. Ironically, like, they're basically accused of being the metal band that sold out. And then, you know, and then they're basically like, we're not making enough money for my private jet. You know, like, you know, they're rich as hell.
Oh, shit.
You know, and they're complaining about, you know, some people downloading their music. Like, yeah, it's illegal, they're stealing, but, like, of all people to be, like, leading the charge, it's the metal band. And the ones that are accused of being, like, corporate cucks.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. The whole
like,
that's like the metal scene now. That's
yeah,
like literally like just how it is now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully not everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
majority.
Yeah. Like, and so, like, essentially what happened was, like, before the lawsuit, like, went through, they were basically having discussions, like, you know, like, litigative, you know, pre-discussion kind of meetings. And the head of Napster met with, like the heads of, like, all the major record labels. And he basically said, like, would you be willing to drop the lawsuit if we started, like, a paid system where people pay a subscription to Napster and they, like, can, and, like, we make it, like, we will all be a part dealer, like, in this, like, thing. Like, you basically give us the license to let them access the music streaming over the internet, and they can pay a monthly subscription to access it. And the heads of the record labels went, no, that's the dumbest idea ever. And then like, you know, within 10 years, like, Spotify was, like, a thing. And, like, now music is a subscription.
That's fucking crazy.
Except, here's the difference. Now it's done not with the record labels partnering. So the record labels make the same amount of profit from streaming services like Spotify or Apple Music as an individual. So, like, you put your music up on Spotify, every play that you get, I mean, it's not exact, there's some algorithmic kind of percentile. So, like, Taylor Swift is making a larger percent because she's, like, a more present artist. She's has more pull to get people to pay for Spotify. But it's still, you know, fractions of cents, you know, per play. And so the record labels are making way less money now from, like, actual music sales. And so that's why, like record labels have what are called 360 deals, which means that they're going to give you a little bit more money in the advance, except they're going to take your live sale profits and your merchandise profits, and if you have a TV appearance and they pay you for that, like, they take a chunk of all of your profits, and so essentially in exchange for more money, and then you're in this contract where you have to essentially pay back through record sales. Like, you have to, like, sell enough records that you pay off the advance money before you make profit on, you know, and actually get paid for the royalties, like, plus interest. So it's like a bank loan with interest, except unlike a loan, like, you can technically not pay it off if you don't sell any records, but you're never going to ever sign with, like, any record label ever after that. like because you essentially like now have a debt, an unpaid debt. It's like the Pirates of the Caribbean, like they have like this debt to Davy Jones.
A death grip.
Yeah, like you have this lifelong debt that like until that debt is ever paid off, like like you're banned from the music industry.
You mean everyone who went to college in America?
Kind of
like that type of debt,
except that one is worse because you actually have to pay back your student loans,
right?
Or else, like I don't know who takes you at that point, the IRS, or is it like do the bankers just take you, like they just with just a van and put a bag over your head and take you away and ship you to the gulag, like like
oh shit,
you have to that's how they make the money. They use them to make the money.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to pay this off, and then you're gonna have to make the money now. But
that's 3 weeks in the rice fields.
Oh my god. But yeah, so like you know, it's become like, so it's basically what that has done is back in the day you used to make money from the record and lose money from doing live shows, but you use live shows because think about, there was no like mass media, there's no social media for you to go like, hey, listen to my album, dudes. So like you had to
check out my mixtape.
Yeah, so
hey, what's up, man?
You check out. Here's a link to my SoundCloud.
Check out my mixtape.
Yeah, here's a link to my SoundCloud.
Pushing them CDs.
I got them cassette tapes.
Cassette tapes.
So basically what they had to do is they had to go on tour. The tour was not about making money. The tour was about promoting the album. So you would go before the album came out, and you would play your old music plus you play the new music that was going to be on the album, and be like, yo, like you like these songs, like this is going to be on the new album. But the difference was the ticket prices, like even when adjusted for inflation, were like way cheaper. And so like because now the main like income of an artist is ticket sales, they've now raised the price of the tickets because they can't just keep making bigger venues. And so like when you want to see Ariana Grande, like you have to pay $900. If you want to see Harry Styles, you got to pay $1,000, probably $2,000 at this point. You know, like so like you have to pay like out the ass to see an artist live, because that's like the only way they make money. Because the record label's gonna take a huge chunk of that too.
Right.
And the manager's also going to take a chunk, but frankly, the manager deserves a chunk. But like, because the manager's doing a lot of work, the record label's just kind of pushing money around. And so, like now, basically the album is used to promote the tour. Like, hey, new Taylor Swift album came out, now she's going on tour, you're gonna see her on tour, like, you can get a t-shirt for $80. You know, like it's about the experience, like, you know, so it's totally flipped the entire experience. But that has made it kind of weird for artists, because now a live show is not something you just go to, it's something that you're drawn to. And so now what used to be like, if you were an independent artist, if the big artists are going on tour to promote their album, then an independent artist is gonna
do local tours in order to spread your notoriety around. So a record label, an A&R person, is going to find you and sign you to a record label, and then you can do it even bigger. But like now, it like, because the whole thing has been shifted, like live music is not a thing unless you're specifically drawn to it. People don't just go out to watch live music anymore. You know, they don't go to a show. They go to, like, I'm going to see Harry Styles, period. I know what I'm going to see. I know what I'm getting into. Like, I'm also going to spend my entire savings account to go see it. You know, but at least I'm not seeing Alethophobia, you know, at some dive bar getting pissed on by a homeless guy. you know, like, so, like, versus, like, back in the day, like, it was more common to, like, go to a bar, there's live music. You know, you go to venues that are bars, there's live music. It was a featured part of the venue, you know, versus, like, that's, like, especially after COVID, like, that really, like, put a hamper on a lot of venues in addition to it being, like, less.
Yeah, it affected a lot of going, like, any outdoor experience that you kind of enjoyed just shat on. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Any type of, like.
Yeah, it, like, basically forced antisocial behavior.
Yeah.
Like, and
just nailed the coffin on the already degrading society that we already live in.
Yeah, the internet started it off, and then the COVID kind of put the nail in the coffin on people's social lives.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Like, and so the thing is, like, it has now forced everything to be on the internet, and so now, like, the way to, like, garner attraction towards, like, whatever is, like, you basically have to already have an established, like, a record label won't even really look at you if you don't already have, like, you know, a large amount of followers on social media, and you already have, like, a couple EPs or an album self-released, you know, where, like, the idea that an unsigned band would release an album, like, before getting a record deal, even an independent record label deal, it would be, like, nuts 30 years ago. Like, you put out an album, it's like, where did you make it? How did you do it? Like, you couldn't do it in your house, like because, like, where are you gonna put a recording studio in your house in the 80s? Like, you know, you have to get a huge mixing console and the speakers, and you have to soundproof everything, and it's like, and, like, now, like, you can just, like, buy a couple microphones and, like, use your MacBook, and you know, I mean, look at what we're doing right now. Like we just bought
a studio.
You know,
like,
we're just, like, in a house doing this. Like,
it's crazy. Like,
we don't need a big film studio. Like, we don't need to be Jimmy Fallon to have some kind of presentation. Like, you can do it from anywhere, like, under any circumstances, basically.
It's like one of the small good things about technology.
Yeah, but it's made it that, like, you know, people's attention have been divided very far and very broadly, and so back in the day, like, it was very focused. There was only a handful of mainstream bands.
Or you're just talking about, like, consciousness, like, people in general. Like, people have the attention span of squirrels now.
Right. Yeah, like, and it's made everything.
Like 10 seconds, 30 seconds now people have it, so they lose focus on something, and then they have to.
Yeah, maybe not even.
Something like that. It's crazy. Like, I can listen to, like, an 8-minute song, bro.
Yeah.
I know some people that, like, listen to, like, a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's too long if it's past that.
Yeah, like, music has been
holy crap,
increasingly getting shorter and shorter.
What happened?
Well, here's the actual, like, sort of
scientific reasoning. So it's very similar to. So back in the day when you had radio, there was a very strict 2.5 minute time limit. That like if your song was over 2.5 minutes, they would just start fading. Like if your song was 8 minutes long, at 2:25, they're gonna start fading out. Oh.
Nice.
Which means that like you're not gonna be on the radio.
Oh shit.
And so like even like Led Zeppelin was not on the radio because their songs were 5, 6, 7 minutes long. You know, and so, but they sold a bunch of albums, which is how they were like very famous.
Yeah, you don't need the radio. It's like a
like
specific type of genre, I guess. And
so like. So like essentially like that meant that everyone wrote 2.5 minute songs. If you were a pop artist, if your intention was to get on the radio, like you wrote 2.5 minute songs. Like most Motown songs are 2.5 minutes long. The early Beatles songs, 2.5 minutes long. Elvis, 2.5 minutes long. All of these songs were 2.5 minutes long. Then you maybe you had a little bit longer songs for like albums, but albums weren't that common in the 50s. Like it wasn't until like the mid 60s that albums started to become more commonplace. Before that, it was 45 the singles. In fact, just like when iTunes came around, and you could buy individual songs again, like again, essentially, everything turned back to singles. Like focusing on just hit singles. We gotta make the hits. You know, who cares about the album? The album is just trash. You know, the album is basically just like, we tried to write this one hit, so like the hit is like the best one out of the 12 that we tried, but we're gonna put the rest of the 12 on the album, essentially. Like, imagine if you just tried to write the same song over and over and over again, and you just try to refine it and refine it and refine it, and you just put all versions on the album, and that's what a pop album turned into. And so, because it's so formulaic that every song is just that. And so we're seeing the same sort of flip where when you're dealing with like streaming services with Spotify, if you have like a banger song that like people want to listen to over and over and over and over again, you know, you have your Old Town Road where it's just like, okay, people are just listening to the shit out of this. Like, doesn't even matter if it's good or not, but people are listening to it. They can't stop listening to it. You know, it's like a drug. Like, they just can't stop listening to Old Town Road, you know? Like, they just gotta get their little sex in the morning, and they're gonna listen to only that song, like, for their entire drive to work. Like, if the song is shorter, if the song is 2 minutes long, if they played it on repeat for a half an hour, they would get like 4 times as many listens as your 8-minute song if they did the same thing with your 8-minute song. And so it has essentially benefited the shortest songs. So like the shorter the song, and obviously there's a threshold where it becomes diminishing, where like people aren't going to listen to a 30-second song. Like the chances that a 30-second song is like the world's greatest banger is like not that, like, you know, potentialist.
What's that? A song by Napalm Death that's like 3 seconds. Guinness World Book is like yeah, it was like that. It was like it was like something like that. Oh, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, which like that was definitely like we're doing this on CD now, so like we can put essentially like we can put way more than 12 songs, like where like a record or a tape, like you only had so much tape or so much vinyl record, so you had to squeeze songs onto these records. But once you got CDs, you could put like you could have 30 songs on a record, and like it would just be on one CD. And so like they would just like they could throw in whatever they wanted. And so like you would put a 3-second track because you're not wasting, you know, a circle on the vinyl, you know, on a 3-second bullshit track. So you can start to have some like random shit like you know, like, or like you ever listen to the first Tenacious D album? Do you know Tenacious D?
Yeah,
with Jack Black.
I'm familiar with his films and his comedy. Was it The Pick of Destiny?
The Pick of Destiny, yeah.
Wasn't some of Tenacious D's music in that song when he fought Satan?
Yeah, like that movie was like filled with their music. Like they made an album, like of, like the songs from the like essentially like the same that like, you know, you have like Pink Floyd's The Wall, where like they have like basically made a movie of the entire album's worth of songs, or like Tommy by The Who, and so like, but their first album, they basically had like these sketches in between tracks. It'd be like one was like about doing cock push-ups, and that like you only need to do one because if you can do one, like you've done enough. Like you put in enough work. Like the end goal is to do one cock push-up because that's all you're ever gonna need.
Who the hell said that?
It was Tenacious D. Like that was like it would just be like the two, because it's the two guys. So like they would just like have tracks that were just conversations between themselves. And so like it would just be like about some random shit like, yeah, I invented a new form of singing. It's called inward singing, and it's like, if you want to sing and not do another, and he's like trying to sing while sucking in, and he's like, and the other guy, Kyle Gass, he's like, that's not a new form of singing. That's just singing while breathing in. Like, and he's like, you know, fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. And like they like like halfway through the album they break up, and then there's a song about how Kyle quit the band, you know, and then at the end of the song like he comes back and joins the band again, and then like and they have like themed, you know, because it's like a comedy like music album.
Yeah, I remember the film. It's always like, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so like that was like their The Pick of Destiny was like their like sort of ultimate form, because they started as just like a music duo, and then they like they had an HBO series that was like sort of the prototype for The Pick of Destiny. Like in The Pick of Destiny they have a lot of references to the HBO series.
What was it called?
It might have just been like Tenacious D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so like they just would do little skits, and like there'd be music attached to the skits. You know, because it's basically them just like this fictionalized version of them as a band, like and like talking about like stereotypical, like, you know, they're being like stereotypical like loser rock stars, like wannabe rock stars.
Yeah, I remember they were just like in their dirty apartments, like playing air guitar and talking about
like smoking weed and
stadiums and like this and that, and like
they're playing the open mic night at the bar. Like that was like a running bit in the HBO series. Like they keep trying to like play, like they keep going to this open mic, and there was like, oh, you can get a paid gig, like a featured paid gig night if you like whatever. And they keep like talking to the manager like, come on, we can do it, we can like. And then the manager's like, no, you guys fucking suck. Like, and so they keep like going out and trying to like, we gotta write the greatest song ever. Like, we need to prove it to this guy that we can play like a gig for $50. You know, like,
oh my god.
They end up going off to a Jesus retreat that like ends up being a cult, and like I think they were like like saving their own shit or something like that, or they're using their shit to plant potatoes. Like, and then the cops show up and like raid the compound while they're there. It's ridiculous.
Nightmare.
Yeah, and so like the Pick of Destiny basically became like the big budget, like, you know, we're gonna make a movie, and like it's gonna be like bigger and better than the.
Well, that's cool. I like the history of it. It's pretty badass, you know.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that like really got me into music in the first place, because it like celebrates the sort of legacy of like rock music and that kind of thing, and makes fun of the tropes, you know. And so like you know, it was that and School of Rock that kind of like got me inspired to like get into like that kind of thing, like. But you know, yeah.
Nice.
Honestly, I forgot how we even got on this topic. Like, what were we even talking about that we got on this topic?
Music. I don't know. I like music, so we're both musicians and we're around.
Yeah.
I guess like I always liked the music, but like I don't think I would have gotten into it if it wasn't for like live music.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna get into it. Like I always liked music. I always was a connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would get into it like seriously if it wasn't like friends like in the past, like, oh, I play in a band, and
so you like going to live shows and stuff like that,
or just garage jamming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like live shows. I don't go out as much as I used to. I don't think it's.
But that's something that you did like frequently in the past.
In the past, yeah, I would like to go out a lot, like at least every weekend.
Yeah, I definitely was not like that.
Every weekend, like I would just go to New York or Philly. There's a black metal band playing here. There's a black metal band, or death metal band playing there. There's a technical jazz fusion core and
technical jazz
techno breakdown duet in South Jersey, you know, whatever, you
know. Yeah, like
check it out.
I was like the complete opposite. Like, I think in high school the only shows I ever went to were Streetlight Manifesto at the Starland Ballroom, and I didn't even really know that much about Streetlight Manifesto. Essentially, the long story short is, I was in a ska band when I was in high school. Do you know what ska is?
Yeah, it's like that punk with like the trumpets. And
it's like punk reggae.
Up,
yeah.
Up with that like upbeat.
Yeah, it's basically a cross between.
It's like pogo and like punk, right?
Yeah, like it's basically like it's basically Jamaican music and punk, like, which there's multiple waves of ska. So the original ska was essentially just up-tempo reggae, like in every sense of the word. Like it was literally just in Jamaica. And we're like reggae is like ska is like it's like a double time kind of feel. Which the reason that they create the ska actually came first, and the reason that reggae was started because there was a really hot summer one year in the 60s. And they were like, man, like, because they would go to dance halls and they would like dance to these like to ska music essentially, and they were like, man, it's way too hot to dance this fast? Like, can you slow it down? Like, can you just play the music slower? And so, like, what started as turn it and so like it created basically a new variation of Jamaican music. And so then ska eventually, like in the early 80s, turned into a mix with like synthwave, like pop, like 80s pop, like Take On Me or something like that. With the cheesy electronic drums and the, or like Rick Astley, like never gonna give you up, never gonna give you, like taking that,
getting memed on,
and crossing it with this original ska music. And it basically turned into and early post-punk kind of stuff as well, and stuff like 99 Red Balloons, like the German band.
No, I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, it was like a 80s, how Germany was split in the 80s, and one half was owned by the Soviet Union, and the other half was owned by the U.S.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, I know they were always divided. Even
you can guess which side was the shittier side. It was obviously
they're both shitty, but obviously the Soviets.
Well, I mean, the direct quality of life. One was run down and wasn't even rebuilt from the war, and the other side was completely rebuilt and was thriving.
Right.
And it wasn't the Soviet Union side.
Right. Interesting.
And so, but the really fucked up part was that Berlin itself was also split because it's the capital of Germany. It's like their Washington D.C. And so they specifically took that, which was firmly within the Soviet portion of Germany, because it's like in Eastern Germany, and that was inside the Soviet area, but the city itself was also split. So you had half of Berlin fully enclosed inside of Soviet Germany, and so the U.S. side had to fly supplies to Berlin constantly, so that they wouldn't starve to death. Because there was you couldn't drive it through, and if you went into the Soviets, it was like North Korea, where you can go into North Korea but you can't go out of North Korea. So you can go into Soviet Germany but you can't leave Soviet Germany. So if you went to one block over, I mean, there was a wall.
Oh my god.
And with barbed wire and guards and guns, and if you tried to cross, they would just shoot you. There's barbed wire and mines and stuff. Right. There's still pieces of the wall that are still there. It's all graffitied up because the Soviet side was the armament side, and the U.S. side it was just a wall. And so on the U.S. side, it was covered in graffiti because they weren't rounding people up and slaughtering them.
All the anarchists and the
yeah, versus on the Soviet side, if you got even close to the wall, they would shoot you. Yeah.
Oh my god! And it's kind of random, but I saw a video of so. There are Ukraine soldiers right now using STG-44s, MP40s, storming trenches with MP40s. Fucking, I saw another photo of Ukraine soldier with a Maxim World War I turret.
What the hell? Who's holding on to this stuff?
And then I saw a bunch of Russians with a bunch of American Thompsons.
What the hell?
So I guess apparently
they must have been holding on to
back
them
during the Allied war during World War II, we guess we
lent them
funded
weapons.
those motherfuckers billions of weapons, and kind of like how we did with
think about like
other countries, kind of like the 9/11 eras and the all in between.
Think about like,
but
in World War One, like the Russians, like they didn't even have enough guns for all of them.
Capped.
Yeah.
With World War I and II weapons right now, man. Like, I can't believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they like had them in a museum or something. And then they were like, like we can use these. Like these are still good.
Soviet Russia's like, oh, use these tanks. We have a bunch of them from 60, 70, 80 years ago. We must not be wasteful we must use them all, or like something, man. It's crazy that. Or like the fact that they have all those old American weapons, like, or vice versa, they have all those old, authentic German, like, how the hell do they have, and they still work, and they're still like, fucking deadly as hell, like,
it's
so funny. It's
crazy. A gun.
It's crazy, like, 100 years old, like, fucking, dude, it's incredible. Like, that's so weird what's going on.
Yeah. Like,
just bringing that up. I don't know.
No, like I mean, like, I'm like just thinking like, like what was I thinking?
I guess bringing back the glory, the glory days of the fucking war crimes. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, like as much as like everyone wants to keep comparing the current politics to World War II, like in terms of like the European, the sort of like taking American politics aside, although not completely aside because we are involved to some capacity, like
financially at least.
Yeah, financially at least. Like basically like this whole setup between Russia and Ukraine is like actually like very similar to like when the Ottoman Empire and Austria-Hungary started fighting for World War One, because there was like essentially land disputes over, what was it, like Bulgaria or something like that, or it was something like in that like sort of like Turkey, Middle East, like Western Middle East area, that basically like Austria-Hungary basically said like, yeah, Bulgaria or whatever country it was, like, yeah, they're a real country. And the Ottoman Empire was like, what? Like, no, they're not. They're part of the Ottoman Empire. Like, how did they get to decide that they're their own country? Like, we didn't say that they could do that. And so essentially, and I think this is technically the justification for why Germany was blamed for World War One, was because basically like Austria-Hungary like basically was like you want to fight about it, and they started fighting. And because like Germany had some ties with Austria-Hungary, I mean, like eventually Austria-Hungary becomes Austria and Hungary, and then Austria is like basically Germany. And so essentially like what happened is Germany was like yeah, we'll help you, Austria-Hungary, like we'll like assist you in this matter. And they basically took a side, and essentially that basically there's a bunch of alliances that were created between like a bunch of individual countries. Like it wasn't like one big alliance, it was like a bunch of separate alliances. So then, like, Germany has an alliance with somebody, and so they drag them in. And then that country has an alliance with somebody else, and so they drag them in. Where I think it was like Russia had an alliance with the Ottoman Empire, so then Russia had to get involved. And then because Germany was involved with Austria-Hungary, then like Russia and Germany had to start fighting, and like because of Russia getting involved in this and that, and Germany getting involved in this and that, then like Britain starts getting involved, and the French start getting involved, and the U.S. wasn't involved at all at this point. Like they didn't get involved until like almost towards the end of the war, because they were very like, at that point they were still very like hands off. They were like, we're just America, we're just doing our thing, we don't want anything to do with what you got over there. Like we're
that was such a brutal war, man.
Yeah, like America was just getting into the industrial era at that point, so like they weren't really interested in like foreign affairs by any means.
They're not willing or unwillingly preparing for it.
Plus, like, think of the context. Like, America was like really, really young compared to all the other countries. Like, America had formed like, you know, like, what would it be like less than 150 years, 1776 to like 1914 was like not very far off. The Civil War was like, you know, 50 years prior to World War I. Like they were still living the Civil War, like veterans,
Civil War vets, and during World War I.
Yeah,
holy fuck.
Yeah, like they were still on fucking horseback, man. Like
right, the war horses.
Yeah, so like, so essentially like, because Germany was like essentially the one bolstering the conflict. Otherwise, like, because the Ottoman Empire was way bigger and way more powerful than Austria-Hungary. So if Germany just kind of said like, yeah, we're getting involved with this, Austria-Hungary will probably just be like, you know what, do what you want with Bulgaria or whatever the fuck. You know, we're like, you're gonna fucking beat the shit out of us. And so, but you're kind of seeing the same thing happening now, where like Russia's, you know, gets aggressive towards Ukraine, and like, you know, the U.S. amongst some other countries are getting somewhat involved. They're adding fuel to the fire essentially, because like, you know, who's to say that the Ukraine would even be, if they didn't have any outside influence, that they would be able to even like resist the invasion, and you know, perhaps that would have led, you know, you can't say what the decisions of you know, some of these leaders would be, but like, you know, that would make it a situation that would push it more towards like, hey, you know what, actually I don't want to get shot in the face, so like, okay, we'll give you Ukraine, dude, like, just don't shoot us in the face, versus like, I think we can do this, guys. I think we can do this. Like, I think we can beat them. I think we can win this. Like, so we're gonna try, and then it starts an actual fight, an actual conflict. You know, people die. You know, they're using some weird oxygen-sucking bombs that like suck the air out of people's bodies, which is like literally a war crime.
I remember hearing that. That's very disturbing.
Yeah, like, and so
kind of like Half-Life.
Half-Life,
or like a weird, like horror, like dystopian.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that game is like a game that's like in Russia in the future, and like they have like brutal, like I guess what you call it, fascist, like military people.
Yeah, which I think they were aliens.
and then you're like a prisoner, and then they were like intermingled with aliens. You can call them AIs for us, but aliens in the game, and like I don't know, just like just the way that they would treat them, and like how everything was like so like sectioned out, and they would just like bomb like random places of like any resistance. They're just like fucking hit them with like bioweapons. Like I don't know, that's what it reminds me of. Like when I hear that, I think of that. I just think of like I don't know. It's all It's a cowardly war, and it's a war on it's a greedy war. It's a complete no reason for it. I don't think either like I don't agree with like one side should like not do anything and the other side should just like let them take over. I just think it's all trash. It's like all like it's all like.
But I think the thing is that
the people don't have a choice, you know. That's the thing. Like they don't have a choice, regardless of if it's immoral or immoral.
Right.
They don't have a choice. That's which sucks because it's like I would like to think we live in a world where the people have a choice, you know.
Yeah. Like I think it's not that the right decision is obvious, that the current decision is probably not setting out for a good result.
Right.
Because like right now it's kind of a powder keg, like waiting to like set off.
Right.
Because like it's pretty, to be fair, the U.S.
pretty,
is like is dumping a lot of money into this, and like.
Well, we're all involved now.
If we start to aggravate,
there's already troops there, so it's like we know that there's combat. There's inflicting.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple nations involved in this, so probably fighting and having casualties in all types of areas. So it's like it's very. No one's talking about it either. It's very underground and.
Yeah. Well,
they want you to focus on like.
The mainstream narrative.
Mainstream narratives and like, you know, kids and creepy people reading books to kids and like other people and like who can go to which bathroom. I don't know. I'm tired of it. It's like, or just like people rioting and looting over someone who. You know, isn't a justifiable person. You know, stuff like that. Like, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it, and there's some brutal shit going on behind the scenes.
It's like
our rights and like the world and like combat outside of our little bubble. Our bubble's getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah, and frankly, like.
Withering away.
There's like an increase in essentially like human rights violations, like with the justification of some ambiguous, like you know, like threat, or like it's so ambiguous that I can't even like. It's a threat on democracy without any evidence of it, like a threat on democracy. In fact, half the time the stuff that's being claimed is true to the opposite side, where like it's like, okay, if there is a threat to democracy, well, when you look at evidence, it's not who you're saying it is, to be very vague about it. Like it's actually you. It's like it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like you're claiming the thing that you're afraid of, like you're fear-mongering something that you're doing, you know, and blaming it on someone else.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that these words that being thrown around.
It's
like so I kind of believe like some of these words are used to actually silence people and instead of just claiming that they're a group of hate. I think some of these words are just meant to like completely shun you out and cast you out of society. I'm not going to talk about it, but I believe some of these buzzwords, especially the ones you hear now that are extremely violent or just far right or whatever,
well, they've lost all meaning.
They lost all meaning and purpose. So like it's just
like they'll call anybody.
So like I don't like I don't. Yeah, like I said what I said. But
yeah, well, I mean, they've lost all meaning because they just throw these words out towards anybody for any reason. That it's like if somebody were actually racist, like you're now degrading what that actually means by saying that like this random thing is racist, when it has really no basis in being racist, but just because you don't like it. It's become like, oh, I don't like this, so I'm going to call it racist. I'm going to call it whatever, phobia. Yeah, some phobia, some anti-this, some, whatever.
Those buzzwords.
The buzzwords. And it's like, that's like, you're going to the extreme on something that has nothing to do with that at all. You're manipulating the definition of words, like that, which is specific, something that specifically is being done specifically by the media today.
And I can't stand the cucks out here pushing that, like calling people these things just because they don't agree with them or because they're not going with like agreeing with the agenda, just because they like, because they're not with you, you assume that they're the worst of the opposite, and then you just call them out. Fuck you, you're a little bitch.
Yeah,
you're a little bitch. I don't know.
And half of it is not even done through genuine disagreement. It's done through some.
It's not even
obligatory disagreement.
Their own like decisions. Like they don't even they don't even take the time to analyze and like look at and try to understand the opposite point of view or a different perspective. They just want to go with the whole cancel culture. Let's just get rid of them. Like let's just silence the ones that oppose us. Like that typical cult like mentality. Like I can't stand that. You're the problem.
Yeah, like
you're the problem. Like
and it's half the time it's just the little things. Like somebody like doesn't only reads the headline to an article. And so they have literally no clue what the actual truth is. They don't even know what actually happened, even if they're going to read a skewed, like, position article.
Articles are interesting, but, like, you got to, put more research, man. You can't just go off of just... people trip balls on one article, and it could be just some, like...
That's the thing is...
Fat schmuck getting paid... and like somewhere in New York, and like
who are their sponsors that they have to like not speak out against, somebody that's directly financing,
financed by like some big corporation out there, So, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Who are they paying? Who's paying them?
Yeah. Like who's incentivizing you to say this? Like, and here's the problem is that, like, it's not even, like, yes, is only reading one article a problem? Yeah, absolutely. I think, but there's also the problem that there's tons of people that don't even read the article. Like, they don't even read one article.
It's just the title.
They just read the headline.
Just see the photo.
Yeah.
And just go off the propaganda because it's so powerful.
Yeah. It's like, so-and-so's getting canceled for what? It doesn't even say what. It literally says what. It says, like, it'll be like, actress so-and-so is getting canceled for what? And that's the literal headline. And so they don't even know what they're being canceled for, or that it's even a reason to be canceled, or if anyone is even actually trying to cancel other than this person writing the article. Because people who write articles now have like this huge ego that they're like, they're the purveyors of culture, and like if I don't like something, like I'm gonna write to the masses and they're gonna agree with me because I'm right, because I'm, it's like they're so narcissistic that they think that their ideas will be automatically like shared with everyone.
I have a friend that is a graphic designer, and he does some of my my art for my music, and even the podcast, and he told me that his job is to make propaganda, to make people
like for marketing or whatever.
Marketing, like that's his job. Like it's his corporate job. Like it's just like
like I mean, even everything. Like
he says, he just He sees it and he thinks it's funny, and he says people go crazy and like, they eat it up. Like they go wild for it. It just amazes me. I don't know, like.
And half the time, these companies or businesses or marketing firms or PR firms, they know what they're doing. They know that they study these manipulation tactics so that they can exploit them for, being successful at whatever they're doing. Even if they don't even think that what they're doing is full of malice, like they're trying to hurt somebody or trying to lie to somebody, like their job is to like manipulate people specifically, like to do something, whatever it is. Somebody comes to them and says like, we need you to like get people to buy this thing, or we need you to get people to like, take their vaccine, or to
react.
To wear their mask,
or to have fear or not to fear,
or buy a war bond, or to buy, whatever, or
interesting.
Even private things like come to our charter school, come to our whatever, come to our business, eat at our restaurant, anything is used specifically like with tactics to manipulate people specifically. Like even if the product itself is like a good thing, they're still manipulating you to get that product.
Right. Regardless if it's like whatever outcome.
Yeah, like it could literally be.
They need to convince you. They need to make a. That's why, like, I don't know. I guess I brought up my friend because like he has to make things.
Yeah.
To make people react.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Like think about like.
Oh my god! Can you imagine having a job like that?
Yeah. Like think about like anything, like even if it's something that doesn't age well, like somebody had to make the thing on that thing, like somebody had to make the infographic for that, somebody had to write the generic music for that,
Make the logo, the design.
Yeah. Like and so like they're just given this information and they have to like make this like infographic, make it as interesting as possible, or whatever, and like you're directly like 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 even when you take something from history, like some dude had to print the like Karl Marx's like Communist Manifesto, like, or Lenin's Communist Manifesto, like somebody had to publish like that material, like he's just a printer, he has nothing to do with it, but he had to print.
They paid him for
it. He had to print that stuff, like
Could you imagine like back then, like because back then like any document was powerful, so like could you imagine printing like psychopaths books and mass publishing it and sending it for everywhere for the young students to learn, just to become to like get those poisonous words into the soft pallid minds of the youth.
Like we're just like they're just a regular person doing their regular job, and like and they do like just don't even like, they're not even registering that like like what they're actually doing, or like maybe it's something that hasn't even been taboo yet, you know, that but it's gonna age really poorly. That like think about like anything you could be doing could be like, this is gonna be great, people are gonna love this, and then it becomes like the most catastrophic. Like somebody built the Titanic and he was proud of it. They were proud of building the Titanic, and it was a travesty. Like, that ship sank to the bottom of the ocean. Like, the people that built that boat were probably like, are you serious? Like, they were probably like, Tony, you didn't check the rivets. Like, you know?
Yeah, I don't believe it went down like that, but the way they say it went down. But yeah, that's I guess a tragedy. I guess people died.
Yeah,
like, I mean, wasn't the last few guys? I don't even want to like really make claims because I don't really know. But I heard someone like the last few American people involved with like either Federal Reserve or some type of American government went down with the Titanic. As long as a lot of other
possibly.
Just like all these weird conspiracies about the Titanic I've heard like about like two and just like making it like a financial move and
well, yeah,
stuff like that.
Have you heard like the one with the insurance scheme?
That one I could believe. That I kind of believe that one.
But that's probably the most like and that doesn't even preclude any other.
Yeah, it's probably
conspiracies.
That's a mysterious thing that happened. You know.
Yeah.
Fuck, that must suck, dude. Going out like, there was another. I think one like the Titanic. During World War II, when it was a bunch of German, like wounded German soldiers, women, and like children, like just people escaping, and the Soviets like attacked it and bombed it, and there was like twice as much people, like triple the amount of people compared to Titanic, all perished in that, and I was just like, holy crap, like it's brutal, like dying in a boat, man.
Yeah, like
fuck that. Especially as like either refugee, tourist, vacationer, or just whatever, you know, whatever you're doing, just it's terrifying, especially in the cold and like freaking Atlantic.
It's a hard situation to get out of, like, because you either die in the sinking of the boat, or now you're in the ocean, maybe in a tiny little rowboat. But like, what if you're in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah, then
like the literal middle of the ocean. And then you have
to survive.
Yeah.
Through hunger and then like insanity to get to a place where you could.
Yeah. Like
possibly eat and.
Yeah. Like, because especially think back then, like. There was no, like, now they probably have some kind of GPS beacon or something that it goes down, like, they can get out there pretty, like, in a timely fashion. But, like, think about, like, the boat goes down, like, there's no, like, GPS system. It's just going down, like, until, like, somebody just happens to come upon, like, the wreck. Like, it's just people stuck in the ocean, just waiting for somebody to come along or to drift to some island. And then even if you're on an island, you still have to survive on that island. Like, you know, like that's like it's like one of the worst scenarios. Like, I feel like the only other worst scenario would be like on a plane.
What about a submarine that's about to crash?
I think that what would be worse, a plane or a submarine? It's either you're falling to death, or you're like trapped. You're trapped in this
plane. Even though I fly. I used to fly a lot, and I still plan on flying. And I hate turbulence. It's like one of my. But like I've had turbulence to the point where I was like, all right, this is it. I want to die here. I'm okay with this. It's like I was like compared to like me feeling like that in a submarine. I don't think I'd be as like. Because I feel like it'd be a slower death.
Yeah.
And a lot more like
claustrophobic. I think.
Like painful and like scarier.
Mm-hmm.
More like abysmal because like you'd be like, I mean, it wouldn't be that much longer because you'd crush. It'd be so like.
Yeah, I mean, but it's filling up with water, like
drowning.
You can't even really get out.
And then you just the pressure of the
like at least a boat you can get off of.
Right.
You know.
Right.
It's already above the water.
Right.
This is just under the water.
Then you're like, not,
like it's already sunken.
You're like so deep underwater too. So you're not. So like you can't just get out because your body would like.
Yeah.
Get crushed.
Or you wouldn't even be able to swim to the top, like
because it's so deep.
Yeah, like you wouldn't make it in time. So like even if you got out, you'd still be stuck underwater. Like at least you'd be able to swim, but like you're not gonna make it. Like you'd have to have like superhuman fucking.
That feeling though of getting out and like before you drown, like, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah. I mean like. I would, like I think I would definitely pick the
3, 2,
and then you fall through the ground.
Yeah, and fucking drown.
Like I think I would definitely like pick the plane because at least like
I don't want to think about crashing in plane.
People do survive a plane crash, you know. Like, depending on where you are in the plane, where you land on the ground, you know, like, there's a difference between, like, crashing directly into the side of a mountain versus, like, and you're sliding and slipping and sliding and whatever, like, you know, depending on, like, how
planes just have such a devastating, like, impact when they, like, hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not where, like, the wheels are. Like, it's just so, like...
Yeah. Like
I saw a video of like vintage plane flyers in like I think Texas. I don't know, somewhere in the States. And it's like this one big bomber plane was doing like a you know, like a barrel wheel, whatever you call it.
A barrel roll, yeah. Although that's not actually the name for it, but yeah.
Some type of maneuver.
I think it's called the aileron roll or
360
something.
maneuver.
Yeah.
And like a little one clipped it and didn't see it. They were going so fast, but there were like these two World War One or two, or I guess World War II up. It's not World War One. World War II up type of planes, vintage. And man, like they fucking crashed. And like, everyone recorded it, and they're like, "Holy shit!" Like it was just like just devastating because like they couldn't just like eject. It was an old plane. It wasn't like something they could just like parachute out of or like.
Yeah.
It was
like, I mean, think about like.
Crazy.
I mean, like that had an accident, but like,
almost like a plane collided. They had all that sky, and they still managed to hit each other. Like,
I mean, think about like they used to literally take those like out into war, and like there's like anti-aircraft artillery just like
yeah,
and you're just in this fucking rattling ass yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, man. Hellstorm.
Like honestly, like that seems like the scariest shit. Like of like the war.
I'd rather be infantry somewhere in like I mean, it would still suck, but I'd rather, because then I could still run, like, still if I'm getting hit by,
you're more control over yourself, at least, versus, like, being stuck in a metal tube.
Unless, like, a Panzer comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at us, like, but still, like, even then, it could still miss, and you could still kind of get out of, like, get to cover, and, like planes, man, if you...
Yeah, if the plane's going down, the plane's like
going fucking down.
Going down, and like even if you have a parachute, it's like you're literally landing into Germany, dude. Like you do not want to land there. Like what would they do to you if you landed there? Like they would
if you survive the fall and the huge amount of anti-aircraft artillery, like all that shrapnel in the sky, like Oh my god, all the movies they made out of that, they're fucking sick bastards. I think of all like the people that fought either side, all the brave men that fought in either Europe or in America from the first, I don't know, like 5 wars since like World War One. All became like video game characters.
Yeah, I know, like
entertainment icons.
Like it's really weird.
Stars, it's fucking really depressing.
Yeah, like you're playing World at War, and like you're literally playing as somebody's like great grandpa. Like
I was like, I'm playing as a Russian bastard, like killing. Like I don't know. It didn't feel right. Like, but when I was like before, I knew like how. Like, when I was in high school playing as the Russians, I was like, yeah, this is badass. Like, this is cool. I'm reading about this in school, and, like, they're the good guys. They're the righteous people, whatever. Like, nah, dude, there are no winners in war. It's all sick, deprived fucks. It's nasty. It's nothing glorious, nothing good, and, I don't know.
Did you know that a lot of those games are
it's like
funded by the U.S. military?
Of course, it's like pro. It's like propaganda. Like it's like
literally
militarized.
It's literally propaganda.
We're gonna get you all jacked up.
It's literally meant to recruit kids into the military.
Rewriting history.
Be like, yeah, it's literally like you like Call of Duty? Here, you can shoot a real gun. Like we'll send you to Afghanistan right now.
Hey, at least like back then they made good games. Like now they don't even make good games.
Yeah,
like, games now are not even like.
Although, have you played the new Modern Warfare 2?
There's some stuff I saw that I just think it's just cringe, and I think it's lame, and I think it just suffers from like most modern gaming, mostly. But that's what most modern gaming. But like, I guess to the core gameplay wise, like I think the gunplay looks kind of badass.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't like the physics. I never liked the physics in COD, like that quick, like arcadey, like drop. I don't know, like it just doesn't feel like.
Yeah, you're just running and gunning, kind of.
But it's not even like a cool run and gun. It just like feels like it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, I mean, because especially like
if you're playing like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1, like you're running and gunning, but like you feel like you're actually like
right. If somebody shoots you in the head, like you're dead, dude. Like you have to actually be aware of your surroundings in Battlefield.
Yeah, man, I love that. In Battlefield, and even like I love the older Battlefield games because you have to really just be like on your game. Even like Battlefield 4, like I have moments where I'm feeling like I'm playing Battlefield 1 where just like tanks, artillery, but there's like helicopters in the sky and there's like buggies and like dudes and like all types of crazy stuff going on. It's like really cool to. It's a shame that DICE. Well, most DICE, Microsoft, Sony.
Yeah.
Most of these game companies are just lacking. They used to have a little EA, like all these games, like.
I feel like they've monopolized a lot.
Yeah, they sold out. And literally bought out everyone they could be, and there's no authentic, like there's a couple, like I noticed that AAA games are being pushed out and are being really popular, but like the underground games are like really cool and fun, but they're not as like polished. But then at the same time there's AAA games being pushed out, not polished at all, but they're sold full price, $60-$70 a pop.
Yeah, we'll update it eventually,
and then they'll update it a year later, and then it'll be like cool, but then it's like,
I mean, like I love Cyberpunk, but like when it came out it was pretty rough. Like I feel like I had a lucky experience. Like I even played it on a base level PS4.
and I had an okay experience, but like it was definitely pretty janky. Like,
yeah, it looked really janky for like, cause I saw it not like I see it now, it looks better, but like when I saw
it definitely looks better.
The base PS4, man, like ugh.
Yeah, like the shading was a little like fucky, and like there's like
I know 360 games that were way more immersive, and detailed than the base PS4 or Xbox One Cyberpunk, man. Like you can go through like some of the Xbox 360's discography and find graphics just as comparable to games now, which is kind of shocking. Not every game. Same thing with PS3.
Yeah, and there's definitely an element of like, even when the new system comes out, it takes a while for them to actually be able to like utilize the power of the system.
Right, I noticed that. I used to think it was like a theory, but it's nice to hear that. Like, I didn't like. I just when PS4 came out, I just started to see like. I took them a few months, like, or like I guess a year to start seeing the real detailed graphics. But then when I started like seeing like in 2014 to 2015, maybe 2016, a huge peak in that performance in the PS4, and I got super stoked and excited. But then over the years, it just kind of got cheaper and cheaper and cheap to the point where it's like, yeah, I guess they're doing like. The thing is that the PS4 and the Xbox One hit a peak of games, but then just stopped and just kind of went stagnant, a little downhill, and then just like, did the whole thing with like, oh, PlayStation 2 or just like Xbox original, like you got to get the next gen to get the nice graphics. Now they're doing that marketing again, and like when you get it, it's like not even that much difference. Like back then. It would be like pixels to like fucking HD, like 180.
Yeah, it was like blocky as shit.
It was like 180. So it was like huge. Now it's like, oh, there's like 4K and there's like a little bit more detail in the hair and like they look a little bit. But like most modern games are just like you're walking through a fucking linear thing and there's like an arena. Like it's just so boring. Like, it's like I like linear games, but when they're just like cinematic linear games that like don't even have interaction, you're just like literally moving the joystick forward and just watching stuff. I'd rather fucking I'd rather go outside. I'd rather
press
fucking
A now.
I'd rather do anything else in real time, or I'd rather just get up and just go on my computer, because going on your computer there's more interaction in real time, because whatever you want to do you have to put and type in instead of just fucking holding the joystick forward. Like I'm tired of that shit. You gotta like stop. Don't you miss like playing like the old, like I don't know, you ever played Resident Evil like 4 or like or the older ones?
The only Resident Evil game that I've ever played was Resident Evil 0.
Oh no!
You ever play that one?
Yeah, that one was hard and like awkward because it's like you're like
the camera angle is so weird. Like I
and that one was so hard to beat too. I got to like I think out of the train.
Yeah,
and it took so long to get out of the train. I had to like, it was so hard to figure that out.
I don't know if I even got off the train.
Zombies in that train, bro. Some thick Johns in that train.
Yeah, and it's impossible to fucking aim at anything. Like, because the camera angle is like a fixed camera angle. Like,
I mean, all you gotta do is point at them and you'll hit them. Like, there's no like. You know, it's like I actually think Resident Evil, the original, the mansion one, like is way better. And another one like that is called Code Veronica.
I've heard of that one.
That one, they're like same fixed awkward camera angles, but like the gameplay is good. And it's like get the fucking.
And then it was a 4 that they changed to like
third person,
the regular third person.
It's like over the shoulder when you're. See, that's when I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like that, I like those classic Resident Evils too. I love those games. But like when I first played like my first horror, it was that game. One of the first ones. I think Doom 3 from the Xbox. That was scary, bro. Yeah. Holy shit.
That was a good one. Like
just like opening the steel foggy destroyed gates in like Mars or hell. Like in like this destroyed like dilapidated like alien like hallways like like these mutant like demon researchers or monsters coming at you and you're like high speed velocity running. That shit was just, that was that. But I wasn't old enough to own the Xbox and like have it. But then when I got the GameCube, man, I played the shit and I got the fucking Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube, man, that was crazy. That was I remember I just liked that game because like you had to interact. The environment you were immersed in, the music was dark. You're just like you're uneased. You're always on your fucking toes. And then even in the cutscenes, you have to press buttons like AB. If you don't press AB, your character dies in the cutscenes. Like you're always like that's interaction like that. I like that. I miss that. I don't know what like even in the newer Resident Evils, which I like, I'm a fan of, but like. They took that out. Like, put that shit back in. Like, stop making these games, like, stop making them woke, too. Stop making them, like, I don't know, just stop making them so, like, stop appealing to crowds to make money. It's about the art. It's not about money. That's why these games suck. Because you appeal to crowds that kids forget in a week.
Yeah.
You're appealing to crowds that people don't have the attention span to watch videos for over 30 seconds. You're appealing to crowds that people that what people care about will not care about in like 5 years. Like that's like the stop. You're going to make money. You have a good brand. It sells. You made some great games. Do what it does best. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And I think it's also kind of getting the same because the video game industry is kind of getting up towards like the film industry kind of level.
Yeah, I'm sick of it because it's getting like they're having like SJWs and like these like commie socialists like introducing like into the gaming industry. Like I know, right? We're talking about this stuff into video games and like how I'm talking about this into the metal community and music and like it's everywhere. This stuff gets to everywhere, but unfortunately it gets into the games and like we see it in the games now. It's like I can't have anything now. I can't have any type of peace. But
And it's also like
most modern games are just like they kind of go towards a certain agenda. They kind of have this this awkward future version of America that they want. And it's like,
but
it's overdone and it's like I don't know. It's kind of cringy. It's just pure cringe, and it's just
and
it doesn't. It's I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's gonna sell. I think it just makes every game stale, and whatever they try to, everything that they try to implement this new type of tactic doesn't work. Whether it's like in the games or the Netflix or Hulu, whatever it is, it just doesn't work. Yeah, you'll get like the clout for like a half a month.
Yeah, like, you'll get an article written about it.
It doesn't work. It doesn't last. Everyone forgets about it.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of the thing of like it's a combination of like saturating a game too much in politics.
That's the thing. It's like we're talking about politics in games. It's like what the fuck is going on?
Like overt politics.
It's like this stuff should not even be in the mix, but here we are talking about it, and here I am giving my opinion. And I mean, if you like it or not, whatever, man. It's just like, why are these things in the games?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I like? And if you're one of those gamers that just like likes these new types of games, well, you're not a gamer, man. You're just not, and you just like to just consume. Sorry, you're just a consumer. You just like to see you're just what's the next big thing to react to on the internet. And I don't feel bad. I don't care if you hate me, because it's like, what are you doing? But you're just gonna just buy the next fucking game. Like, I'm not, at least I'm not one of those guys that complains and I'm buying product. I don't buy the products.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. I mean, but like, I really don't. I don't buy this and complain about it. And I'm not buying God of War. I'm not buying games that I don't like. Not saying like they're not terrible games, but I just all these new modern games that everyone's like, oh, if you don't get it, you're just like a bigot, or like you're just some like
they put like, something dude, out.
It's a fucking game. Get over it. Like, I'm not that into like these. I haven't really been into like most modern games since like the 2018. Like, it hasn't, like, all like most of these games. Like, I'm trying to remember the last newest game I bought that I still play, and I'm really just like, oh, this is great. This is so modern. This is so. And I think that stopped with like the fucking Witcher 3. I think that's like the peak. 3. I don't know. I think I was like kind of like, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's always a new like FPS or some adventure game that has like these cool new graphics, but nothing has appealed. I don't know. It's not. I haven't been blown away or impressed, because like I noticed, like, I guess I'm like more of like a old school type of gamer. Like, I like old adventure action games. I like the brutal FPSs, like, and the horror survival, and like that genres. All those genres have kind of died out, and they're more like arcadey now, and like so like I guess they call me boomer gamer now.
Boomer gamer, yeah. Of course they would.
Yeah, so like my preferences in gaming is definitely expired, and like they don't make them the way they used to, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
ever played Star Wars, the Jedi Outcast, or
I love that
Knights
game.
of the Old, or Jedi. Or Jedi Knight Academy.
Yeah,
when you go,
I love that game. Yeah.
Dude, like,
you make your own lightsaber.
Yeah,
like,
and your own Jedi, and you can choose between light or dark, and you get to choose like different like skills, and like you're like a balanced Jedi that can use both light and dark. Like, we need more.
Yeah.
All you
Which, like, I feel like...
Why can't we have... if everyone's so, like, oh, free will, this and that, with Alima, or, like, do what thy will, like, why can't we just have it in our fucking video games? You know, why can't we just... We can't do it in our society. Just bring that back to our video games. Bring that back to our society. Shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like, and I think... I think, like, the consumerism aspect is sort of tied to like 80s Reaganomics, because like Reagan like totally deregulated the like economic industry. Like, he basically like pulled all the restrictions off of like every business, and it basically led to a lot of corporate corruption. But it also led to like mass consumerism, where, you know, it became more about chains. He went to a chain restaurant instead of a local restaurant. Everything had a brand. Everything had this and that. It was all about marketing and that sort of thing. And so everything became commercialized. That was when everything became all about commercialization and big corporate, and,
expansion, and stocks. We're gonna trade stocks. We're gonna do cocaine, and we're gonna trade stocks.
Oh my god!
You know, Wolf of Wall Street type of shit.
Developers. Developers. Remember that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Microsoft, I think.
Yeah, and so like, think about like now it used to be like when the boomers started having their nostalgia phase, they were having nostalgia for the 50s that was like about their like culture and their family values and their home values and this and that and blah blah blah. But now that the millennials are getting to the time for their nostalgia, like especially the 80s millennials, like everything that from their childhood is some corporate. It's a television show. It's a movie. It's Mario. It's this and that. And so now we just fuel this corporate, soulless. It's sequels and remakes and reboots, and it's based on it's HBO making a Last of Us series that looks like they're literally just recreating the video game in live action, and it's like, why would I watch that?
I like how they like make all these remakes and they just put like different characters that don't fit, like completely different characters, like different nations, different areas of the environment, different all types of goofy stuff, like the craziest stuff you would see. Like the fact that they can't make new stuff and they have to recycle stuff from someone else, like especially a game, like it's just sad. Like I don't know, it's just
like, and the major companies are really bad at it, where it's like, you know, you have like EA, it's like, okay, we're gonna make another Battlefield game, or you have, you know, Infinity Ward or whatever. They make, you know, oh, we're gonna make another Call of Duty game.
Dude, the new Battlefield pisses me off.
I mean, they're literally doing. I actually like the new Battlefield.
It's a little cringy, but it's not terrible, but it's a little cringy. It's like I've just played 4 actually the other day, and I still think it's like looks way better, performs way better, and just it's more like of a
oh yeah, the graphics in 4 are definitely
I'm still
better.
it's like came out like 7 years ago, and it still looks like it still puts like modern FPSs like
it does.
It's a shame, like
it looks like what Modern Warfare 2 looks like now, but back then.
Yeah, and like the physics there. Sure, the Modern Warfare now probably has some of the gadgets and gizmos they had then.
Yeah, but like
nothing different.
They didn't have a Series X to work off of, or PS5 to work off of.
PlayStation 3, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. When they were making those games like Halo 3. Those Battlefield, Reach.
Although I've always thought that Halo honestly had bad graphics.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Halo 3 had like voodoo crack graphics. Like what the hell did they make? Had to like do to get graphics like that on that little dingy box that the Xbox they had. Like I was just really impressed with especially with Halo 3 with like the Master Chief's armor.
I'm trying to think.
The elites,
what
the
else
brutes.
is coming around that point. I mean, I feel like Halo 2 had better graphics than Halo 3.
It was really detailed. I mean, I'm not gonna argue. I mean, I like both those games. I think they're great games. I've been playing a game called Proteus. It's like it's a modern game that's inspired by Doom, and it's all pixeled, but it has like 3D pixel engine like characters, but it still has like that 2D look, but you're like moving at Mach 5, and it has like like
you're like churning and burning hallways,
and it's like super fucking gory and dismembering, but it's like like old school, but like it's fantastic. I've been hooked to it. I've been playing the crap out of it, but no one plays it on no one plays it on online, and it's a new game. It came out like not even a year ago, and it has no player base. I was like, what's up with these new games? There's so many games that like, if it doesn't get the clout, like I just miss like when there's just like. But then I guess it's like, I don't know. Then there wouldn't be enough indie games out for us to try out to see if they're good. But like, I just miss when there were just like finished, polished games out, even though they were, because they're usually corporate. Like, oh, it's like bigger like brands like Sega or like, I don't know, like Nintendo for the time, I guess. Like, you know, the game is gonna be finished.
Right.
It's gonna be like a good like.
Which Nintendo tends to still put out a finished game.
Right.
But they're doing a whole different thing.
I'm not taking away from companies like that, but like, I just noticed like back then, like even though they were like through a corporate brand, like they made sure their games came out with quality and they were like finished. Like, I don't know, like most Nintendo games, most horror like GameCube, I don't know, like Capcom or Bungie or DICE at that time, at that 2007, 2008, maybe before too, like EA. Those games were all packed, finished, full of content. You got your money's worth. You'd play it for a couple years. It was like at least 2 years after the game was finished, or maybe 3 if you really liked it. You know, it's just like
even a single player game too. Like, think about how many people like replay Half-Life.
I still play that.
Half-Life 2.
Like last year or the beginning of this year. I think it was the beginning of this year. It was the beginning of this year before I started working. I had like a 4 or 5 month hiatus. So just doing me, not working, just music and just exercise and stuff like that. A lot less of this, which I should be doing. I just noticed I was just playing a lot of fucking Half-Life, man. Going back to the Halo 3 campaign, Halo Reach campaign, Half-Life. Like, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1 is really good, and I still want to get a computer to play it. But like, when I only played Half-Life because of the 360, because of the orange box.
The orange box, yeah.
And that was to me, I thought it was goofy, and I was like, this is the silliest character. It's like, it looks kind of goofy, but like, it was like the sci-fi action and the weapon combat got my attention. I was like, this is kind of reminds me of Halo, and it's like has like that maturity, like that gritty dystopian sci-fi. Anyway,
I mean, it was also like Half-Life was also like one of the first like 3D games like that.
It was like, for at least Half-Life 2 for the Xbox 360 was one of the first PC ports to be put on a console.
Yeah.
Like, but 5 games, or like technically 1 game. It was like technically like.
Well, because it had Portal on it, right? I think it was Half-Life 1,
it was technically
Half-Life 2.
3 games with 2 DLCs.
Portal.
So it was Half-Life 2 with 2 DLCs.
Oh,
Team
you're
Fortress
talking
2 and Portal.
Yeah. Well, and then did you ever play Half-Life had spin-off games that were essentially like the like original version of like DLC? They had there was
Counter-Strike, or?
There was you had Half-Life Blue Shift.
Yeah, I remember Blue Shift.
Yeah, and you played as Barney, the security guard. And it told the events of Half-Life 1 from his perspective.
What the heck?
Yeah. And then there was what was it called? Not Counterforce or something like that. Like
Counter-Strike?
No, Counter-Strike was something else.
It was like it had the same engine, but like it was like a military shooter.
Half-Life is built with the same engine as Counter-Strike.
What's that? There's like another Half-Life game. Is it like the?
It had like a green
Team Deathmatch Half-Life. There's another.
Well, basically what it was you played as like, do you remember at the end of Half-Life the like Marines come in and they're like ordered to like kill everybody, and you play as one of those guys,
the Marines.
And
that's so crazy. They also have another Half-Life called Half-Life Black Mesa, which is a remaster of the Half-Life when you play as Gordon Freeman, which is the game I've always wanted to play, and I still want to play it.
Which that's not even an official remake.
Right, it's a fan remake. But Valve was like, we did it better than we probably could, and we're just gonna buy it off you guys. But I kind of considered it
it's basically considered the official
now.
Because technically the Orange Box is an upgrade. Like if you compare to the original PC version to the Orange Box version, it actually is graphically upgraded pretty significantly. But then like the Black Mesa one like took it even further.
Yeah. And I feel like now if you downloaded the modern Half-Life 2, because my brother he just got Half-Life 2 on his PC, and it looks by far way better.
Yeah.
Even fucking Fallout New Vegas. Like New Vegas, I love that game. I mean, everyone likes Fallout New Vegas. It's one of the best Fallout games, but I always thought it looked like ass on the Xbox 360. I loved the game, but when I played Fallout 3, I was like, this game looks better. And why does Fallout 3 have better lighting and texture, and like the physics look better? But like the thing about New Vegas, it had like better campaign, better like the guns, better like, I don't know, action is more like user friendly, which I really liked. But when I saw my brother play it on the PC, it was like how I should have experienced it. And it looked like Fallout 3. It looked good. It played good. It had like literally what I liked with Fallout 3 and with New Vegas. And I was like, man, these motherfucking PC players like literally been playing the games of my dreams like the whole time.
Well, yeah, and the thing about PC is it's modular,
and you can add it to it and like extend it and just make it look even better and better, and just have
upgrade parts instead of buying a new computer.
It's kind of like art. It's like kind of like painted the way you want to paint it, instead of just like it's presented to you in a way, but then you could take it extra further. I've always wanted that leverage with games, and I'm just like, fuck, man, these PC motherfuckers.
Like I know how to build a PC. I used to like back when I was a kid. I used to take PCs apart and put them back together.
That's a good skill to have.
Yeah, but like I never like, because you have to like buy these like expensive ass. Like the only time I've ever done like any kind of upgrade sort of thing where like I take the video card out and put it in a better video card was like one time, like, because my grandpa was a PC gamer for a while, until we got him an Xbox, and now he only plays Minecraft. But basically, like, he like got like whatever the like top tier Nvidia card was at the time. This was I don't know, more than 15 years ago. Like, I think it was still in middle school or something like that. But like, we opened up his computer and like swapped out the video card, because like he actually introduced me to Half-Life. Like, we used to play the original Half-Life on PC. Like he would play and I would just like watch him play it, because I was like 4 years old or 3 years old or whatever, like maybe even younger than that.
That's crazy. But it was weird to look at.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing is, like, because the graphics are like not good compared to like modern graphics or real life, like, even though it's like a gory game, it's like not really, because it doesn't look realistic at all.
Just like red pixels splattering everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like green goop on the wall, like, or You know, that weird baby creature.
Play Black Mesa, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the boss at the end.
Yeah.
Dude, I really want to buy myself a PC because I have a Mac for music, but like we all know we can't. Everyone at my job rags on the Mac anyway. I'll talk shit on the Mac. It's like I get it, but
I mean,
I get it. But like if you're making content, you want to go with Mac. If you're making like this, or if you're making music, or you're making like videos and editing, like or you're gonna need a Mac.
Yeah.
You're gonna need one. But like,
yeah.
If you're talking about games, though, if you're talking about this specific nerdy shit,
like I've thought about
else, but like you're not better than anyone. You're just you just got lucky.
I've thought about running like a dual, like Mac and PC like system, like where I have like both set up, and I can like use one for some stuff and one for the other. Do like more creative stuff on the Mac, and then do more like traditional stuff and gaming and whatever on the PC. But like I was about to do it, and then like PC parts like went up in price like pretty high. I think it was during COVID. So it was like, all right, that's too expensive for me to do. But but I'll probably do it at some point. I've thought about like, because you can get like rack mounted like computer chassis, so you can like just like fit them into like a rack mount for like audio gear. I mean, audio gear and computer gear use the same rack mounting system, like servers, like server racks. I would essentially like build it like a server and like insert it into my rack unit.
That's sick.
But I'll have to save up for that. I'm thinking about saving up for an M1 Mac Mini.
Is that like a light machine gun?
No, it's it's like the Mac desktop, but it's like a smaller version. It's like a small box.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and like they used to be not so great, but with the M1 version, they're like a lot better, because the M1 is like a major upgrade compared to what they've been putting out for a while now. So I'm thinking, because this MacBook is getting a little old, and then I have my new MacBook, which I have in my studio. But like this is starting to get old, but it's convenient because I have my new MacBook like is, hooked up on a shelf, and it's got wires going into it, and it's set up to, run into the TV and everything, the monitor and stuff on the desk. And so it's inconvenient if I have to like take it out and plug it back in and unplug it and plug it back in. So I've been using this one as just like my mobile. Like if I go somewhere, I bring this, but it's getting a little up there in age. So I'm thinking about, because I generally leave one like hooked up in the studio, I might as well just get a desktop version and just get the Mac Mini. And have that like the nice Mac Mini in the studio, and then I'd use my new my new MacBook compared to this old MacBook. That would replace this essentially, and then this I'll do something with it, because it's getting to the point where it's getting to the age where like I won't be able to update it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So
what year is that?
2015, I think.
Okay.
I got it when I was going to my first college after community college.
Mine's not that much newer. I got mine like 2020.
Yeah, I remember you got it when we were working at Guitar Center.
Yeah, 2020, right?
Mm-hmm. You got the desktop version, right? The Mac.
Yeah, and it was like a year old. It wasn't like it wasn't the newest model. It was like probably 2019's or 2018's model.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate how overpriced it is, and sometimes when I go on Logic Pro when I'm working on like music, it kind of like crashes. But maybe I might have too many amps on. But like, you remember that thing I used to tell you?
Yeah.
Remember that? I was like that stopped me from working on like the desynchronization like that, like that, because the music would go like.
it does do that sometimes.
Some crazy like type of like, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And like, I didn't know at the time, like when I would record a track, I would do like every riff or like not the whole take. So like I would just do like quarters and make on each amp like a huge long list. So like, when I press play, it'd be like. But now I fixed that. I don't record like that anymore. I do like half the song, or like if I'm going to do section by section, I just always like attach it, make sure it's level right, make sure it flows right, and delete the extra space. Make sure. But yeah, I record smarter now. I don't record. That kept me from like. It took me to like working like I think. Until after Guitar Center to really recording seriously and starting to really get the hang of it, because like I hadn't touched that thing for 6 months like when I got it. Like I seriously didn't, like I just left that there kind of like started recording some cool riffs, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then it became like a job. Like a natural, like a hobby, like something that I have to do. Like, if I'm not working on something on there, it's like, what am I doing? It's like a tool. So,
yeah, I mean, I definitely had like, my MIDI keyboard, like basically broke, and the pitch wheel was like automatically, like it wasn't physically moving, but like the sensor in it was like broken, and so it was like slightly as if you were taking it and like going like this.
Oh no.
And like like moving it up and down.
Oh, no.
And so it was like constantly out of tune. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why is this out of tune? Like, and I thought it was like the guitar. I thought it was like a problem with the guitar. But then like, even if I took two synths and put them together, like they would be out of tune. And it'd be like, why are they out of tune? And so what it was doing was like, it was reading like all these pitch bends into the thing. And so like that basically, like, I was like, I couldn't figure out what the problem was for like a really long time, and then once I figured it out, I had to like wait to like save up some money to get a new keyboard. So like I was just like, well, now I like can't really even like write anything. Like I can basically only write with guitar, and drums, and like that's it, and bass. Which I did end up like, it did push most of my writing towards that if I was gonna write something, but then like I'd get like half an idea and I'd be like, I could really use a MIDI keyboard right now.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, all right, and now I can't progress on this idea. But yeah. So
I love MIDI keyboards, man.
Yeah, I just got a new one a couple months ago.
I want to like incorporate at least one song with like some like orchestral church organs or like some type of like.
Yeah, that would definitely be kind of cool. Like, I mean, I think
it would just blend perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I did there's this black metal band called Drags Home that I'm decided to be working with, and I did some MIDI synth on keyboard, and I just think that stuff's cool, man. Especially it works with a lot of types of music, classic rock, just or by itself, or even black metal. Like it works. It sounds cool. Like
yeah, and I think like it's something that isn't like really that common in like more modern rock, where like keyboards were like really. In fact, they've gone through phases where like. It was like really, really common in the 60s to have a keyboard player in your rock band. And then the 70s, it became really uncommon to have a keyboard player in your rock band. And then in the 80s, it became really, really, really popular to have a keyboard player in your rock band because you started to have like electric keyboards and synthesizers and this and that.
Oh, yeah. The synthesizer.
Yeah, and then the 90s, there was like almost no keyboard players. Like they were like so few and far between that like you pretty much only had keyboard players in like pop rock, and like that's it. Like because any like grunge or like punk or alternative stuff, like even the more popular stuff, like had no keyboards in it. So I think like honestly like if you like added keyboards to like metal, like it would make it more interesting, like in general, like it would make it stand out because it's not common.
I'm definitely doing one wintry they call it symphonic black metal, I guess. When they add the synth to it, so I guess I want to do because I'm doing an album, so I want to do at least like 2 different styles and the same subgenres of black metal that are different in this album I'm working on, just to make it like some like symphonic one song, and the other song like war metal. Even though I'm already doing war metal, like I'm doing black metal, but there's an actual subgenre of black metal called war metal, which is just
black metal about war.
It's just like, no, it's like, well, yeah, but it's just like black metal vocals with grindcore rhythm. So picture like grindcore drums and like borderline grindcore riffs, but like I guess they kind of have some blackened influence, but with just like black metal vocals, but with the same like ignorant approach as like grindcore.
Would you say that like the music that you have already released fits under the war metal?
No, not really, believe it or not. It's kind of like it borderlines between black and death metal, and it has like a 90s black metal, I guess, a 90s to like modern influence.
I also honestly found like a lot of like 80s influence, like honestly,
definitely
like
rock.
Like a lot of like a lot of
rock.
Yeah, like a lot of your riffs like are almost like Iron Maiden-y.
Yeah, I
like it's got like the dueling like
yeah. I don't know why I kind of just because like I don't know, I haven't like his like my old band I was playing like tech death, so like we're playing at like 2-something beats per minute, and our drummers are going like Mach like, almost 300 beats. So like I went from playing like solos and tapping to like more like just like
actually playing riffs,
like feeling like writing like like really detailed, like just like compositions, just like really just I feel like my writing now is going back towards the complicated stuff, but still having like the balance of the feeling. So at my newest song I'm doing is called Revolution, and it's gonna have like it's about the Bolshevik Revolution, the Russian Revolution, not a pretty revolution. But it's gonna have a little bit of my old band's Void of Nihility. We were just like this tech, I guess, black and tech death band, mostly. Yeah, it's gonna have some of those influences from that style, and which I'm excited because it's like this revolution is obviously gonna be about that time period, but it's also gonna be a revolution in my style of playing. It's gonna just push it, but like have it evolved, and it's gonna have like also of like the sound of my old band saying that I'm still doing it by myself. Like I'm still, the essence of it carries on through the ashes of the dead.
That is like the most metal way you could have described it. It carries on through the ashes of the dead and
the adrenochrome, and they got the jars of psilocybin, and they're dumping into the water, and they're turning the frogs gay, and now I have the secrets of Atlantis and Hyperborea, and now I know the clockwork elves, and we're gonna take over the leftists because they're not humans, they're aliens,
they're communist globalists,
communist scum.
We have to expose the globalists. And their communist agenda.
And it's kind of cool to like put out, because like I've been like putting a song out every month compared to like with my old band I've only put out 2 songs in the past 7 years. And I'm working with people, so like it's like kind of like a surreal feeling when you're like putting out consistent tracks every month, and you have like art, you have the direction, the lyrics, and like you're literally like putting it out there. Like this, I don't know, I feel fucking good. Like I used to feel pretty bummed out. I mean, I hope my album comes out. I'm like with my old band members, like you know, no, I don't have any beef with y'all. It's just kind of like, I hope you make it through whatever future hell we go through, and hope you're not I hope your decisions are wise and will lead you to a long life. But regardless of that and whatever you feel about me, I don't hate you. I'm excited to release this. You know, it's a darker chapter in my life, probably their life too. But it's a good it's a fucking powerful album, and it has a lot of biblical occult stuff in the album that I've managed to come up with over the years, studying like the occult and religion. I'm pretty happy with, and like the way it's the album, and like the vocalist, I think the vocalist is from Poland, and like the drummer's from Italy, and the album is massive. It's just nice to like, and I'm happy, and I hope it comes out. But like this new song I'm writing, Revolution, is nice to like, obviously not that caliber, but to like emulate it by myself without any of them is like kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's like a really good feeling. I don't know, it's like holy shit, like it's like,
well, because it's kind of like your like self-expression, like you're able to make, you know, more of the decisions of what the final product is. It's more reflective of your creativity versus like the collaborative, you know, there's more compromise.
Sometimes you're trying to paint something and get a story out, and if the people you're working with don't see it, it just doesn't come out as the same, you know? And it's like,
yeah, you have creative differences.
Now it's like having that, it's like a really cool, surreal feeling. It's like, I didn't mean to rant about that. It's just kind of like,
no, I mean,
it's just cool. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it, like once you kind of can get it started, like the thing about like inertia is like it's hard to get it going, but once it gets going, it kind of keeps going. So like 80% of the effort, or 20% of the reward takes 80% of the work, and so like it's like starting a lawnmower. You gotta like pull it a couple of times before it
get that torque going.
Yeah, and then it keeps us going.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you just gotta keep trying and failing and persevering and trying something new and making hard decisions and all of that kind of stuff, to try to improve things, little by little. It's a game of inches, not miles, so to speak.
Right.
I think in modern day, like, we tend to view the world very quickly. I think on the most extreme, it leads to a lot of the entitlement that people have nowadays, especially on social media. That like they don't realize that, like, historically speaking, things take a long time in people's lives.
Sometimes for things to get passed, it takes hundreds of thousands of years.
Right. Like, sometimes things change over generations, and sometimes, success, even success happens over generations.
Mm-hmm.
You build on the success of the people that came before you in order to, improve it even further. And then the people after you will improve it even further. That's kind of one of the ideas of, like, having a family, is that, like, even if they're not doing exactly what you were doing, they're still passing on whatever. Like, especially if you, like, try to instill that sort of sense of responsibility into your children. Like, not that I'm speaking from experience, but, like, it's the idea that, like, you instill, you instill a certain ethical code or moral code or, sort of ideology, like, your sort of personal and family ideology, where, like, if you believe strongly in something, like, it's like your responsibility to, like, share those
and preserve it.
Preserve those goals and ideas with your children, like, because your history, your life gets passed through your children and their children and their children.
My family never cared about that, but I want to be the first one to do that with mine whenever I start one. So
well, it's kind of a thing that
I can't wait for that, because I have a lot of those. I feel like families being personally attacked and almost obsolete, and it's just kind of like crazy to see, like, this this backlash and, like, division in our country right now, with, like, you're either for the family or you're for, like,
you're
against the man,
big government,
big government, whatever it is.
It's like, what do you want in replacement?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you don't have any family support.
I hear they call them caretakers now. They're real cringe shit.
It's like, even something like educating your children, like, you used to do, that was your responsibility as a parent, was to teach your children.
Right, and they don't even do that.
And now it's just, go to school, go to your government institution, so they can teach you, they can raise you for me, while, because mom has to go to the factory now,
You know, she's gonna
pull out them 60-hour work.
Yeah, like you know, where it's like now both parents have to work. Who's raising the kid? The government.
And it's like with these prices and inflation, it's like you can't even.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. Both of you are gonna have to work.
Right.
It's like.
Right. It's become more than just the option.
It's kind of like systematically set up also to the benefit against the family.
Right.
So it's it's very weird times.
It's literally de-incentivizing family. Like in direct and specific ways, like because like it used to be like, oh, women want the option to work. It's like, okay, that's fine, but now women have to work because now if there aren't two incomes, you literally can't raise a family. You know, not to mention you know, the proliferation of unmarried pregnancy in today's society, which leads to, you know, like other choices.
God. Yeah, that's a whole other,
so to speak, and that creates even more. Yeah,
that's a whole other hour.
It's a whole other hour.
A whole other.
But you know, like long story short, like it's all de-incentivizing, like creating stable family environments, and frankly it's been happening for a long time. This is not a new thing.
No, none of this is what we're seeing is new. It's happened in the Weimar Republic. Shit, it's probably happened in Rome. It's probably happened in ancient Greece. It's probably happened in,
I mean, frankly it's been happening here for 100 years. Probably. Like over the course of the last 100 years, slowly and surely.
Germany, Russia, probably.
Yeah.
All those other places. Like
France,
UK.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
China.
Yep.
I mean, China, they were literally limiting how many children you could have.
Yeah, it's like a KD ratio, right?
KD ratio. Yeah, meaning
there's a level cap.
Yeah, meaning how many
to build a map. You only have a budget
meaning how many daughters are you gonna kill before you get a son? Like, hey, I'm
talking
just
about some ancient dynasties.
Ancient dynasties. This is happening until like the 2000s, dude.
It's happening since then too.
It's probably still happening. Who knows?
Oh man,
what's going on over there? Like
they got them Tesla cars with their own conscious now, hitting pedestrians and running into head-on colliding into other cars now, I guess.
I mean,
some weird shit. I don't know.
If they're connected to a network, they could be getting hacked. Like, you
got some Terminator going on over there. You got some World War II nostalgia going on in Ukraine. You got some, then you got the Weimar Republic going on in America. Yeah, what the fuck is going on? Like,
not to mention
some weird shit.
Not to mention we were back in the Cold War with Russia. Like, we're just
/ Great Depression.
Yeah, / the Great Depression. But Biden's out here trying to do FDR.
I found out that it killed. The Great Depression had over 7 million American deaths.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And the ironic part is like all of FDR's policies extended the Great Depression,
of course,
by 7 years. Like,
all right, so I noticed that like a lot of like occultists or like globalists or like whoever is like playing the chess game of world domination right now.
The one world
they're
government.
Obsessed with fucking numerology. And like the occult and like biblical prophecies and just like kind of like or like Judaic biblical prophecies, like, you know, all that, like all anything within that like realm. They just have to fucking prophesize some weird shit. Like it's just trippy as hell. So like I don't know. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Religion just gets a little fucking crazy when it comes to like warfare. You know, it's a little weird.
Yeah. I mean,
all religion though. It's not just that. It's just I think I noticed that all religion kind of gets a little like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's most wars have been fought over religion, statistically speaking. I mean, even more modern stuff like Ireland was having a civil war in like the 80s and 90s between the Catholics and the Protestants, because like half of Ireland wanted to join England, and join the Church of England, and the other half of Ireland wanted to stay independent because they were Catholic and like didn't want to like separate from the Vatican. And so they literally were like, it was like a modern civil war
That's crazy.
over secession and religious rights.
It kind of reminds you of the Spanish Civil War when you had the Atheist Republic versus the right to freedom of religion. I guess like what they call it, monarchy. What is? I don't know what. Not monarchy. Just to practice freedom of religion. But they were predominantly Catholicism. And yeah, bro, they fucking straight up like just like America, like one side blew up the other side, and like but the cool thing is I liked about the Spanish Civil War is that the commies lost and they were pushed out. You know, they lost. They one of the few history battles. I mean,
although you could,
but
you can argue that the commies never actually lost,
right? I mean,
like
they lost the battle, but they won the war.
Yeah, and by the war we mean the war, like
literally
the big one, and by big one I mean the big two. Like, I mean, let's be real. Russia was on the winning side. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that defines communism won that fight. China was also on the winning side.
Even even American generals have noticed that the Soviets are just relentless and harsh and inhumane and
yeah,
not really sane.
Like it's really weird. Like they were like,
it's kind of like. Can I say that we gave weapons to Taliban? That our government did that?
I mean that is a fact,
right? So kind of like
who knows what the tech overlords think about that? But that is a factual thing that happened.
So like it kind of reminds you of like that we gave.
Are you talking about Ukraine?
Well, yeah, that. But like I don't know, I don't know why I thought of that. I just that. Well, all right. We had to observe them. We were allies with them. We had to fight along with them in battle. So like you have generals like observing them, and like they weren't like. Some of them were like, I'm not gonna say, I don't really know who, but like some of them were just like, yeah, this isn't how we do warfare, or this is how. I mean, like, you know, it's when it's to the state of that depravity though. What is morality though? You know, when it comes to like that type of like,
right.
It's such a gray line. You can't really like.
Yeah,
it's like
not to mention they had been a communist country for like 30 years at that point.
So like it wasn't like they were
half
just
the moral people were all kind of technically genocide.
Yeah. Wiped out. Oh, you're a professor and you think that this is not going to work out. You're speaking out against the. Oh yeah, you're
the gulag.
Yeah, like,
literally anyone. All intelligent people were.
Oh yeah, you're a Christian priest or pastor or. Like, oh, you have any affiliation with Christianity? We're gonna just genocide the shit out of you.
Straight to the gulag.
Like, we're gonna do some weird, like, fucked up shit to you.
Terrible. It's such a crazy time.
Yeah. Like, actually, when you think about it, Russia in World War II actually is exactly like the Taliban, because like. They didn't have really any resources. And then, like, we basically bolstered them to fight against Germany.
And we funded them, like, millions of dollars. Think of all the tanks they have.
And then they turned against us. So then we gave weapons to the Taliban to fight against the Soviets. And then they turned against us. And now we're giving weapons to the Ukrainians to fight against Russia.
They're gonna do the same thing. Like, it's just that, I mean, you can already tell that this whole sham has kind of been kind of like a monopoly war, like a war pig type of.
Yeah, like we literally keep doing the same thing over and over again.
And sickening. That's all. It's just sick of it.
And then we expect it to have different results. It's like, how do you anyone just stop giving weapons
see this shit coming? If people are like, oh, like so shocked that there's like fucked up shit from all sides of the fronts, not just because like I like the Ukraine people. I feel for them. I feel for their struggle. I feel like they have a reason to be mad, but there's traps everywhere. There's traps for people like us. There's traps for people like them, and I feel like they're falling for the trap. They're falling for the prophesized role that was scripted for them. We have to, as Americans, we got to be careful not to, fall for these tactics. But, I just feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I don't feel like either. I feel like either citizens for either front, Russian or Ukraine, I feel like they don't really have a say.
Right. I mean,
they don't fucking have a say.
That's the thing, is the Ukrainians don't have a say because they got invaded, and the Russians don't have a say because they were forced
that money to them to fight. So like
right.
And then vice versa, Russia's just like that. Like, well, you have no fucking choice.
Right. Well, I mean, in reality, technically, China has been directly funding Russia in this because, like,
there's all types of funding, Poppy. I bet there's all.
Well, I mean one that's. I mean one that's even like
types of funding, type of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm sure there is that, but I mean one like above ground, like, like mainstream, because everyone stopped getting their Russian oil because, first off, China convinced all of Western Europe to stop producing their own energy resources. Then they were forced, by doing that, they were forced to rely on Russian oil. And then this conflict happens, and now they don't want to get Russian oil, but now they don't have their own resources. And now they have an energy crisis in Europe, which was egged on by China in the first place. And now China is buying that oil from Russia, which means that they're directly supplying currency to Russia. They're literally giving money to Russia in exchange for oil. And so, like, technically, like, they're actually technically bolstering Russia the same that we're technically bolstering the Ukraine. So in reality, like, this isn't even like what do they call that? A proxy war? This isn't even just a proxy war with us in the Ukraine, but deep down, like, it's actually also a proxy war between
like China and Russia. Like essentially, this is a proxy war not between the U.S. and Russia. It's a proxy war between the U.S. and China. And we're using Russians and Ukrainians like action figures in our fucking fight.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense from a theory I've thought about. I can't talk about. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like, there's so many shady dealings.
It could be a very real possibility.
Yeah.
But who knows in this freak show that we live in, in this fucking godforsaken lands.
Yeah.
Ready to call it a...
Yeah, we're...
This is fucking mine vault.
Yeah,
thanks for fucking listening.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to us on...
Subscribe, like, and fucking share, motherfuckers.
Yeah, on YouTube. Also, follow us on Rumble. Give us a rumble on Rumble. Chances are, like, they might, like, fuck with our content on YouTube because we say some edgy shit. So follow us on Rumble because they won't do that shit
just
there.
Just in case.
Like, honestly, Rumble seems like the preferred place to follow us. But you can find us on either platform.
Or Instagram.
Yeah, you can also follow us on Instagram. Yeah. So, check us out for episode 3.
Coming fucking soon, man.
Fucking soon.
Yeah, man.
We'll see with the holiday. I assume we could probably still do another episode next week, but
yeah.
But we'll keep you posted on that. Yeah. Peace.